As a wish granter, it was my duty to bring joy and happiness into the lives of children who were struggling with illness and hardships. Every day I received hundreds of letters from children, each one asking for something special, something that would make their lives just a little bit easier. It was a rewarding job, but it was not without its challenges. One of the biggest hurdles we faced was when a non-custodial parent refused to sign the paperwork necessary to grant a wish. It was heartbreaking to have to tell a child that their wish couldn't be granted because of a parent's unwillingness to cooperate. But today, something unexpected happened. I received a letter from a child who wished for something that was impossible to grant without the cooperation of his non-custodial parent. The child's name was Alex, and he wished for a reunion with his father. I knew that this was going to be a tough wish to grant, but I was determined to do everything in my power to make it happen. I started by reaching out to Alex's mother, who was more than willing to help. She provided me with all the information I needed to track down Alex's father. It took weeks of searching, but I finally found Alex's father living in another state. I contacted him and explained the situation. At first, he was hesitant, but after speaking to Alex on the phone, he agreed to sign the necessary paperwork. A few weeks later, Alex's wish was granted. His father flew to town and surprised him with a visit. The two spent the day together, catching up on lost time and making new memories. I watched from a distance, tears streaming down my face, knowing that this was the reason I became a wish granter. From that day on, I made a promise to myself to never give up on a wish. Even if it seemed impossible, I would do everything in my power to make it happen, because every child deserves to have their wish come true. It was always difficult to have to say no to a child's wish, but what made it even more heartbreaking was when the wishes came from a family member who wanted to hijack the child's special moment. One day, I received a letter from a young girl named Emily, who wished for a trip to Disney World with her mother. But when I contacted Emily's mother, she revealed that her sister had been pressuring her to take Emily's brother instead of her. I knew I had to act fast to ensure that Emily's wish was granted as she wanted. I contacted Emily's aunt and explained the situation, reminding her that this wish was about making Emily happy and not fulfilling her own desires. After a long conversation, Emily's aunt finally understood and agreed to support her niece's wish. I then worked with Emily's mother to plan the perfect trip to Disney World for Emily and her family, ensuring that Emily's brother was included, but not at the expense of Emily's wish. On the day of the trip, Emily and her family arrived at Disney World beaming with excitement. Emily's mother thanked me for my help and expressed how grateful she was to have this special moment with her daughter. Seeing Emily's face light up with joy made all the hard work and tough conversations worth it. From then on, I made a promise to always put the child's wish first and never let anyone else hijack it. Every child deserves to have their wish granted as they envisioned it, and I was determined to make that happen. I have seen the joy and excitement in the eyes of children when they receive their wish. However, not all wishes go as planned, and sometimes unforeseen circumstances can lead to disappointment. One particular wish that stands out in my mind was for a young girl who dreamed of meeting her favorite singer. We had arranged for her to attend a concert and meet the singer backstage. She was beyond thrilled and could hardly contain her excitement. On the day of the concert, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The girl was having the time of her life, singing along with her favorite songs and dancing in her seat. But just before the intermission, the singer suddenly fell ill and had to cancel the rest of the concert, including the meet and greet. The girl was devastated, and we could see the disappointment in her eyes. We tried our best to console her and offered alternative options, but nothing could replace the experience she had been hoping for. But then, something amazing happened. The singer, despite being unwell, made a special effort to reach out to the girl and personally apologize for not being able to meet her. He recorded a personalized video message, sang her favorite song, and sent her a signed poster and CD. The girl was over the moon and could hardly contain her excitement. She said that the singer's kind gesture made her feel like she was the only fan that mattered, and it was a moment that she would never forget. One wish that I will always remember is a young girl's wish to be a ballerina. We were able to arrange a private ballet lesson with a famous ballerina in her city. The girl was so excited and nervous at the same time. She couldn't believe she was about to learn ballet from her idol. The ballerina was so kind and patient with her, giving her tips and corrections throughout the lesson. The girl was beaming with joy and couldn't stop smiling. It was a magical moment that I will never forget. During her trip to Australia, the wish recipient, Emily, had the time of her life. She saw kangaroos and koalas up close, visited Sydney's iconic landmarks, and swam in the crystal clear waters of the Great Barrier Reef. But even though she was having an amazing time, the thought of meeting Harry Styles was still in the back of her mind. One day, while she was snorkeling in the reef, she saw a group of people on a nearby boat waving at her. As she swam closer, she realized that one of the people was none other than Harry Styles himself. Emily couldn't believe it. This was the moment she had been dreaming of. Harry and his team had heard about Emily's wish and decided to surprise her by joining her on her snorkeling adventure. After swimming with the colorful fish and exploring the reef together, Harry invited Emily and her family to join him on his next tour stop in Brisbane. For the rest of the trip, Emily got to hang out with Harry backstage, go to soundcheck, and even perform a duet with him during the concert. It was a dream come true, and Emily was grateful for the experience. She realized that sometimes the best things in life come when you least expect them. After the incredible experience of meeting Christopher Nolan, I knew I had to pursue my passion for film. The lunch with Nola and Emma Thomas had been a turning point for me, and I was determined to make the most of it. I had always loved movies, but meeting one of the greatest directors of our time had ignited a fire in me. Over the next few years, I worked tirelessly to gain as much knowledge and experience in the film industry as I could. I interned at various production companies and even managed to secure a job as a production assistant on a low-budget indie film. Despite the long hours and hard work, I loved every moment of it. I was learning so much about the inner workings of the film industry and was getting closer and closer to my dream of becoming a director myself. Finally, after years of hard work and dedication, I was given the opportunity to direct my own short film. It wasn't a big-budget Hollywood blockbuster, but it was a start, and I was thrilled to be able to bring my vision to life on the big screen. As I watched the finished product in the cinema, I couldn't help but to think back to the lunch with Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas, and how their kindness and encouragement had inspired me to chase my dreams. I knew that without that meeting, I may never had the confidence or the motivation to pursue a career in film. As the credits rolled and the audience applauded, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the incredible experience Make-A-Wish had given me and my sister. We had both been given the chance to meet our heroes, and in turn, had been given the tools to chase our dreams and make them a reality. 10 years had passed since that exhilarating rally driving day. Now in his 30s, the memory of that experience remained vividly etched in his mind. Although he had tried other adrenaline-pumping activities like bungee jumping, skydiving, and rock climbing, nothing came close to the thrill of driving a high-performance car at breakneck speeds through dirt roads. He wondered what had become of the company that had organized the event. A quick internet search revealed that they had gone out of business. It was a shame, because he felt fortunate to have had that unique experience. As he looked back on his life, he realized that it had been a series of ups and downs. But that rally driving day remained a highlight. He had married, had 2 children, and built a successful career. However, he had also gone through a divorce, lost his father to cancer, and struggled with depression. Life had taught him to appreciate the good times and to endure the bad times. He decided to take his family on a trip to the same location where he had gone rally driving a decade earlier. He wanted to share with them the joy and excitement he had experienced. To his surprise, he discovered that a new company had taken over the venue and was offering even more thrilling experiences. He immediately booked the session for him and his family. As he strapped himself into the driver's seat and revved the engine, he felt a surge of adrenaline. The car roared to life as he navigated the course, his family cheering him on from the sidelines. It was a different experience from the first time, but equally thrilling. As they enjoyed the meal and looked at the pro pictures afterwards, he felt content and grateful for the memories he had created with his loved ones. 10 years later, he is still alive and thriving, and he knew that the memories of that rally driving day would always be with him. Years had passed since the day that her uncle met Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver. She had grown up listening to her mother tell the story of how her uncle had been determined to meet his hero, and how he had achieved his dream with the help of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was a tale that always filled her with warmth and admiration for her uncle's courage and perseverance. One day, while browsing through social media, she stumbled upon a post by Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. He was promoting a new charity event, and she noticed that it was in her hometown. She felt a sudden urge to attend the event and meet the man who made her uncle's dreams come true all those years ago. She purchased tickets to the event and attended with her mother. As she looked around the crowd, she couldn't help feel an overwhelming sense of community and goodwill. There were people of all ages and backgrounds, united by the shared desire to make a difference in the world. As the event began, Arnold took the stage to deliver a speech about the importance of giving back. The audience listened attentively, hanging on to every word. When he finished speaking, he walked off the stage and began to mingle with the crowd. Suddenly, he was standing in front of her, smiling warmly. She could hardly believe it. The man who had made her uncle's dream come true was now standing right in front of her. She introduced herself, and he greeted her with a handshake and a hug. They chatted for a few minutes, and she told him about her uncle and how much his meeting with Arnold and Maria had meant to him. Arnold listened intently, and she could see that the memory had touched him deeply. Before they parted ways, Arnold handed her a signed copy of his autobiography, telling her to pass it on to her family as a token of his gratitude for her uncle's support. She left the event feeling grateful and inspired, knowing that her uncle's legacy would live on through the kindness of others. Despite my condition preventing international travel, I was still determined to have a memorable Make-A-Wish experience. I decided to take a different route and asked for a day of adventure in my hometown. My wish was granted, and I spent the day exploring my city like a tourist. I visited museums, art galleries, and historical landmarks I had never seen before. I indulged in local cuisine and took a guided tour of the city's hidden gems. I was accompanied by a personal guide who was knowledgeable about the city's history and culture. I learned fascinating stories and facts that I would have never known if I had not taken this tour. As the day came to a close, I sat down with my guide to reflect on the day's experiences. I realized that I had been so focused on traveling abroad and meeting famous people that I had overlooked the beauty and richness of my own hometown. This experience allowed me to appreciate my hometown in a new light and showed me that adventure can be found anywhere. It also reminded me of the importance of living in the present moment and cherishing the people and places around me. When I returned home, I shared my experience with my friends and family, encouraging them to explore their hometown like a tourist. I even started a blog to document my adventures and encourage others to find adventure in their own backyard. My Make-A-Wish experience may not have been what I initially planned, but it turned out to be a life-changing experience that taught me the importance of being present and appreciative of the world around me.